review him right now. We're gonna be reviewing Suppaklutch. He is the most miserable Reaper game. It's 2700.
Welcome.
Looks like it's so let's do this. We got Suppaklutch, Mole Rat, 420. Wow, what a dope name. 2700 in 2800 game. Everything seems to be pretty much shipshape. And let's go with this.
Like a hit scan of some sort. That's
That
close.
works. Alright, let's go.
Okay, Western Soldier, let's go.
Repositioning.
He's American, it's close enough.
I never said he wasn't American, I just said Western.
People are talking. So Reaper. Also, this is, what is this, PS? There's a triangle, that's PlayStation.
Excuse me, what else did we manifest?
Their ult is over on the right.
And on the left.
So already I kind of like this position that you're holding.
We just have health. Just getting
I liked how you were holding essentially the ground right here. On a different map, we're going to need a different color. Nope. Blue's good. So by holding this area, and you were kind of like fending off the tanks that got close to you, you know, think about this thing at the same side. You kind of, and it was good that the soldier was here, and you backed off from it, so I like that. I mean, I think you're playing relatively well.
Lucy's going up top, Lucy and Mercy are behind. But Lucy was alone over here.
Alright.
She kills. Just Steve on point. Well, nice. Go for Mercy, go for Mercy.
Yeah, I would say watch tunnel vision just a little.
Nice ult.
That's a really quick ult for Zarya. Holy shit.
I didn't get any of those kills. I had to
I got a
reload.
quadruple kill, but none of them were my own. But that works.
90% of that was me reloading.
I've almost got sound barrier for next fight here. This ult
So far, so good.
Why are they still on Diva? You mean nothing to me.
Why did I speed boost?
So yeah, you're too busy hitting tab instead of just focusing on position. And I would say watch your tunnel vision. That's the second time that's happened. When a baby diva hops out, it's well, you're really waiting until you're right next to him.
Lucio down. Fat Piggo. Come here.
So watch the tunnel vision. Don't once you demech a diva, like kind of look for the next target.
Diva's trying to run away.
Don't think so now.
I think it's
Yeah, because if you demech her, your team can pretty much handle her. You need to go to the next target immediately. Because most other teammates on your team have the
Sound barrier though.
I have
they have range. You don't.
I didn't ask for you.
Meaning, as soon as the close target is dealt with, go to the next target if there's a next one. Don't get tunnel vision and stay next to the close target.
Oh no. He had his dash.
I don't have
Oh, this must have been old patch.
Oh no.
Wait, does council get pushed? Do the patch just get pushed out to the council?
lost that one, but I think we can retake this one.
Watch the battle. Don't worry.
Just stay there. Come back.
But if they don't get it, then you know Mercy shouldn't have been able to dash out of that, but she did.
I'm coming.
Also, when you used your ult last time,
Oh no.
you waited a little bit too close. Remember, your ult does have some range.
Try and get their hog off the map, but he's too fat. There he goes. Oh, never mind. Reaper killed him.
Go for Lucio.
Mercy's down. Somebody on his wheeler.
I don't have a shield.
Soldier's gonna kill me.
So this is the time you're too focused on positioning.
He's got the
This is what I mean by people need to use sound to their advantage. You heard your team,
must be Reaper.
not in comms, but maybe if comms was disabled, you would have heard your team actually, you know, you heard your Mercy get hit a couple times, and then you heard your Mercy die. And then you heard your next teammate get hit, and then your next teammate die.
I'm only half on
You should react to this sound.
We do have death loss.
I've almost got.
Lots of Junkrat mains said they're released at the same time. Okay, cool.
19.
Okay, I'm gonna go up top.
Oh no.
Yeah, I got him.
I think that was an alright ult. It seemed a little bit nicer,
Let's get on point.
you know, before you hit it.
Get ult. Oh no, please.
Slow. He's so weak.
Sorry, half on point with Mercy on her.
I got him.
Oh. I'm gonna say, yep, just go straight for combat.
They're all low there. Good stuff, Genji.
Are you gonna compliment me?
Alright.
You're not worth it.
Okay, you shot a hole. Good job.
Also, one thing with Reaper you have to start taking advantage of is that Reaper, since he relies on closing distance so much, if you see like your team engaging on the right side and you know their entire team's on the right side,
Mercy should probably be playing back.
you question yourself and you try to go through the middle part. You could
Oh god.
easily just go right at them.
Everyone just run in there and die. Oh boy.
No.
Alright.
Oh, that's not good. We lost this.
Okay.
I lost that point. I'll go.
They should have snapped it.
You guys want it.
Hindsight's 2020, but
Different though.
oh, he rolled off the edge.
Honestly, same.
The hog was right next to you when you were trying to dive past 2 or 3 people on their your team. On their team, I meant.
Oh, what?
The hog, it would be a
Hesitant to use them.
he is a great target for you. He builds your ult faster than anyone else in the game. Also, since he's a big old target, you will be. There's your team. You're going to be the one that can take him down the fastest. Right? Your DPS is quite high.
Good as Zarya. Except that game on I.
Soldier 76 reporting for duty.
Check this out.
Man, people in higher ranks really do actually communicate in the game.
Slightly, yeah.
Instead
I
of
wouldn't call
eating
this
bags.
quite higher ranks, but it's getting there.
This- Okay, where was I last season?
Alright, yeah, that's
This is
anything
high.
higher ranks.
This is high rank.
Genji's up top on the right.
All right, perfect.
I'm low.
Where are you? I'm doing out of here.
Here's Zarya's feeding charge.
Behind us? Yeah, I know.
Okay, this is good. Okay, that's fine. You probably take that. Remember, he has a mercy, so if you get a 1 shotgun on him, you need to follow up immediately, or he's going to heal right through that.
I just sent the Lucio towards you, I'm so sorry.
Get her! Oh my god.
Hog half on point.
That, I mean, that happens.
Conquered by the Mercy in the side lane here.
The one thing is if you Wraith form against the Mercy,
Doing what I can to keep you guys up.
she's gonna regen probably all of her health back.
Get him.
Or a good chunk of it.
Oh god.
Gotcha,
I've got Brad.
Oh, thank you so much, Reaper. Oh, soldier to the right, soldier to the right. He's in that small room.
Stag in if you can.
Yeah, you could have pressured a little bit farther in that one.
I can already see soldiers making a huge difference for them, Reaper.
But your movement is what I'm concerned with right now the most.
Thank you. Is now really the best time for this?
Okay,
Oh well,
that was good.
I'm just got 7 health. Save me. Thank you.
It was good you put a shot into the Mercy first, just to remove any chance of her,
Yeah, they didn't want to split spawn.
I'd do that too if I watched anime.
I watched
these
it.
people. So Mercy had no chance of escape.
The message.
You didn't know what you were thinking there? It happens sometimes. You question... In the middle of a firefight, sometimes you'll question yourself.
I don't know why
I'm
they
not wait up
decided.
here to go for environmentals. Have fun team. Oh.
Oof.
Oh no. I can't. We don't have res.
They
We don't
didn't
have
get very
res.
many of us in there.
One time we
tried
started
my
watching
best.
anime, one of my friends was actually
about to
singing
get
anime.
About to get memed.
we gotta
Alright, so that.
You want to do our quick play this Saturday? I'll have to see. I don't know if I'm streaming Saturday. It may have to be Sunday.
He stopped.
Or Friday. We'll figure it out.
Don't
Look
take
out, 'cause I'm
down.
pretty sure Diva's gonna have Diva Bomb right now.
Boost.
I can
Get in
only
there,
shield
team.
so many of us.
But we got
It's alright, just use this fight
Mercenaries.
to get all. We've got this. Let's go in there.
Okay, remember flanking takes time.
Spider on my chest. Ah!
Just burn it. Oh no. We lost Mercy. Alright, they used Res, they used Diva. That's a good fight for us.
Oh my god, you're so annoying.
I'm 92.
I'm 98 on Sound Barrier, so we should have a lot of ult effect up
At
here.
like 70.
So again, as Reaper,
If you can get in there, go some
a lot of people think Reaper is supposed to be this stealthy, sneaky class, and Reaper's more of a bust down, like kick down the door and start shooting you in the face type of class. So it's okay to flank, but
I can Sound Barrier.
when you started going around the entire team, you have to start to question. Oof.
I thought they were all grouped up there.
Oh god.
Good kill, Genji, good kill. Nice
Nice.
res, nice res.
Diva's up high. She's out of mech.
All right.
No, Lucio. Leave now.
Genji behind.
But yeah, you're not some super sneaky class. I mean, I think if you flank a little bit and then come out these top windows, that's usually fine enough.
They have this.
Try me, bitch.
That Mercy's still alive.
Get off top. He's on the down main trying to get this.
Oh god.
Oh no. We lost to Soraya. Oh no.
Genji's like half out, so we should be able to.
I think you play that all right.
He just did some work though.
I know.
But before the fight is what I would be questioning the most.
Okay, let's go in, let's go in, let's go in.
There's Ari's behind.
Let's see if you do it again. I'm just getting ideas in my head and seeing what you're.
Can you not your stallers are in? They're not going too well.
They
just got a
wasted
team
res
kill.
on the Zarya.
They just got a team kill.
Alright, we're gonna be able to get
Hmm.
maybe one more out of this. I'm gonna have to go in there and stall here in a second. The Tracer's on our Mercy right now.
That's anyone. Oh, we're still going Mercy.
Yeah, there's. What is it? Careful of tunnel vision again.
If we can waste some of his sound barrier, I can pop out. I got ult.
We've got Mercy Res coming back here. Try and get on point to be cancelled.
Oh.
Good stuff.
Oh, I died as soon as she missed. Thank you so much.
Use it. Okay. Fuck. Mini Diva just gets crushed. Alright.
Genji, get him. He's he can.
So right now I'm not too concerned about your positioning, or not your, sorry, I am concerned about your positioning, but your accuracy seems fine enough. Skill usage seems fine enough as it is right now, but mostly with Reaper, a lot comes down to positioning. And
That was an
it's like you're trying to keep this mid-range at time unless you get a full surprise on someone. Like you're apprehensive of pressuring someone to their face to close range.
I got an 11 on
Strike our enemies
Lijiang
where they
Tower.
do not expect.
Lijiang
Rub it in.
Tower.
Oh, the Mercy's joining team chat.
Okay.
Is it a grill?
No.
Oh.
Okay, well, I'm killing myself.
Let's go.
Skr skr. I'm sorry. I mean, not really.
I'm already at point. No one's here yet. Tracer's here. They went back to the Roadhog.
See, this is those times that you're overflanking. Like I see. Okay, there. Yeah.
Hogs down.
The Genji's on Mercy.
Zarya half, Mercy on the Zarya. Focus Mercy if you can, she's in the back.
So let's see. I can understand you, and It was okay for a little bit.
Oh wait, okay, we're getting wiped.
I can understand you flanking, but like not shooting just to try to get to the Mercy before anything is
My friends are dead. We're about
risky. Right? If you can kill both tanks, the Mercy's going to fall eventually. So if you got point blank shots on some people, like if you could have killed the Zarya and Hog there, if you turned and just started shooting right away. Ooh, good dodge.
Alright, I've got sound barrier. I'm gonna head towards point here.
I'm already pretty low.
I was trying to add pressure until I could single someone out.
I got all.
I don't play like this anymore. Okay.
Fuck.
Well, you weren't applying pressure. Because you weren't shooting, like no one knew of your presence, so
You gotta stop.
there was no pressure to exert.
Picked off by the minute.
Got him.
But the thing is this,
Alright, let's go.
I guarantee a lot of people play like this up, even in Masters. They try to play Reaper as this like ninja class, and it's not. Is this?
Oh, feels bad. Thank you, Mercy. Oh no.
Oh Jesus! Both mercies. You got your ult though.
Counter, counter.
You can get. Okay. All right, the mercy's dead. Don't use any ults. Oh, all right. I would say you should probably take this with a numbers advantage as it is. Save the ult. But that is sometimes that can be a little bit greedy. I know someone once said, they're like, "What do you mean, but being greedy by not using your ult?" It's like, well, you want to use it for a later date. You keep saving resources, and sometimes it is better just to get the point. And I heard the beeping, so they're at like 87%.
So no one has any ult.
We got plenty of time for a fight though.
Oh, just
Yeah, I've got sound barrier. I'm gonna save it.
oh
Oh,
sh.
we're down Mercy. Tracy's behind us here. Oh, please, no, don't come towards me.
Oh, I
guys have
realized
our
you're like
heals.
Lucio owed.
I can get in there and stall at the very least for you guys to get there.
Soldier and Genji are staggered.
By Wraith form into a fight. That last one was because he got
We're trying to break
Zarya ulted.
I never broke it down, what the heck?
And I think the one before was just because he was getting killed and he wanted to get on point.
No, we're not gonna
Like, he does move slightly faster in Wraith form.
make it, oh no.
So, like, right there, he just kind of had to. Right? You just got to get on point. There's nothing else to it.
Meme just right. Oh, soldier almost made it. I just saw
Good
your
job.
body go flying.
But yeah, that one you're having a hard time closing the distance. Actually, you guys were just kind of stuck before the point most of the game.
Kill me now.
What map are we gonna get? Okay.
Do you want me to switch?
Yeah, you probably should if they're running.
But what do you want?
Do you want to go Lucio?
Sure.
No, Lucio. Alright.
Skip a little bit.
Consistent shield. Let's go.
You're taunting. You should be running.
We've
We
reversed
also have a
sweep
tracer, so
before.
you're gonna get shredded. I'm dead. Thank you,
What?
consistent shield.
How did that not? Genji, what the fuck?
Consistent shield is dead, so
Okay, okay.
kill Reaper.
There you go.
Nice.
Apparently Genji's immune to
I have
charges,
return.
despite the charge being a mag.
Don't... At those times, I would say don't be afraid to shoot through Zarya's shield.
Nice.
What do you... Reaper does... Is it 150
Do you really have to say it like that?
Yes.
body shot? If I remember correctly, it's close to 150 body shot. So that means up to 300 for a headshot. But with the way shotgun spread is, you know, sometimes that can be difficult just because of randomness. But that means if Zarya has a shield, you can two-shot her get rid of the shield in, you know, what, under a second, and then immediately kill her.
Of my own life.
Go get him.
You could have had that.
Hey.
Okay. You got the edge, so you shouldn't be using your ult here.
Ripping pepperonis.
Oh.
Oh, with their Genji just dashed off the edge.
Hello, darkness, my top 10 anime betrayals.
Let's try that again.
Come here.
Oh, hi.
Yeah, okay, yeah, so Reaper does 150. Okay, that's what I thought.
Tracer.
What's his fire rate? It's lower than a second. I think it's like 0.6. Maybe 0.7.
False spot.
She got it. She got stuck.
I've got sound barrier, but I don't know if I should use it. I'm just gonna ride around the middle room and hope they don't notice.
I'll get back pretty quick.
Okay, I think that was as good as you could have been right there. Yeah, you're trying to buy time when you don't have range and you had none of your teammates with you, so that's tough to do. I would go for their yeah, you just gotta go for something.
No Mako Senso?
It's alright, we got it to 99. They wasted rose. Alright, so they just use Genji, Zarya, Lucio. I don't know if they use Tracer.
Yeah, you guys definitely have. It's 0.5 for Reaper? Fuck, that's quick.
Just use
That's really, really quick.
Repositioning.
My genius is finally recognized.
Gilgamesh! Oh shit, with a 7-month resub. Great adventure so far. Wish you the best. Well, thank you, and thanks for the 7 months, man. It's been a fucking adventure. I'll tell you that much. I learned a
My
lot.
genius is finally
Also-
recognized.
Heck, man. Heck,
Oh no.
something. Him, subscribe. Welcome to being a crony, man. It looked like this is your first subscription, so thank you so much.
I'm gonna switch to examine this. Try and call him out.
Well, he is far away from his targets, but some of these,
Ryan works to get us to 99.
it's tough.
I wouldn't have switched to Diva personally.
It really is tough. Reaper is not like he's in a decent spot right now, but he definitely has a weakness. Oh shit! You just lost your guy. Now I'm not sure.
Well,
Careful with that.
it's bad now.
I guess you're gonna get jump on her.
That's why I wanted to go.
He's gotta go.
It's the easiest way to counter Tracer. We only have.
Oh, you didn't want to take the objective.
Yeah.
I guess hiding in a bush is an option,
If only it was Ilios.
Oh, yeah.
or you just fucking around now. Oh, looks like you're just fucking around. That's disappointing.
Power it up. Get in.
You want to just meditate with me in these flowers?
You're dead. Oh.
This is how I meditate.
It looks like, yeah, and I guess with Council, I guess this is actually a big issue because they have no, they have unlimited accounts because it's free. That's defeat. So, I mean, it's a shitty way to end it, but we got a general gist of
My
it
genius is finally recognized.
from the first parts of it. Oh shit, we got another. What is this? What is all these subs doing? Archulon Games, thank you so much. Well, we're not looking what he can do perfectly. So this is a big issue with which I have with most reviews. Whoop. Black screen. So with most reviews, people, and I guess like it's gonna look like that's what I just did right here. With most reviews, like they try to do too much. They try to correct every single little mistake, and they expect the person to go, "Oh, all right, I'll fix all those little mistakes immediately." That doesn't work. That's not how teaching works. If you've ever learned a skill in life, if you had someone like every time you did something wrong, like just be like, hit you and just be like, "No, that's wrong. No, that's wrong. That was wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong." What happens is you overwhelm the student, and they don't really learn much. In fact, they just learn to like not like you.
Finally
It's actually quite difficult for a lot of people to learn in that environment. I've been in situations where I've been corrected like with every little thing, and I've seen other situations where some people have been corrected by every little thing, and depending on the person, they can take it, and some people can't. Some people, it's completely disheartening, and they will never show up again, and they'll just quit whatever they're doing. So you gotta go. You have to understand, like, I correct people in their video a little bit by little bit by little bit, and I'll be like, all right, this seemed odd, this seemed odd, this seemed odd, but at the end of the day, it's like, I'm not gonna look at correcting all of those actions. What I'm going to do is try to find a single thread that's wrong or that's he needs correcting on all of it. So yeah, like every time, like you're like, all right, if he did Wrath form perfectly here, he could have got this person and could have had that person, and then he could have like won the game. But it's like, man, that's assuming a fucking lot, like a lot. I mean, you can assume maybe they'll get one kill, but after that, dude, fucking the whole game changes. You have no idea what's going to happen at that point. Yeah, so the main thing with him, and we'll go to my apply pyramid. So I think, like, as far as his, like, accuracy was, I think that was fine. Like, he was making his shots, he was doing good. Like, he wasn't whiffing too much, except against the Mercy. But Mercies, they're fucking nimbly-bimbly, alright? I die to him, too, so it's no big deal. I think his movement was alright. Now, his positioning is what I want to get at. So, a lot of the times you favor mid-range, and that's rough. Now, as a Reaper, you have to learn how to deal with mid-range, but you should not favor it. At a certain point, you just need to, like, be very courageous and try to get a kill. You have to go in. At a certain point, you just have to press forward. And this is the difficult thing about Reaper, is that you have to abuse the fact that you do massive amounts of damage and you heal from it. So at times you have to pressure, and this is why the reload when he goes in Wraith form is really good if you can get back to your team and whatnot. But you need to pressure and try to get that kill, and then Wraith form out, and that's the usual series of events. Because a lot of times when you were attacking, you were stopping just before like a point of no return. Like you needed to take like a half a second to a second, maybe one or two more shots to see if you could have got the target. Also, I noticed actually up here, you weren't, and I'm not gonna say this is a bad thing, but you definitely want to use it. Headshots, you weren't aiming at those at all. Which is okay. Like, I actually don't mind that. I know I'm probably one of the few people that say that. But if you can get to like, you know, 70-80% accuracy with body shots and then start adding in headshots from there, or, you know, some reasonable amount, I think that's it's okay. But you definitely need to add that in because you're at, I think that was a platinum level 2700. Yeah, you should start adding that in. But I don't mind like when you go to a tank and if you can't hit the head, you just unload 4 or 5 shots to the body. It's what, 150 damage with a bigger target like that. All your pellets are going to hit every 0.5 seconds. I mean, what is that? You can take down a full health Roadhog in 2 seconds. That's pretty fucking quick just for body shots. You can take down a Zarya in a second and a half, which is really, really quick. Mango King, yeah, no. Addressing how Reaper closes distance is important. But that's not gonna. It's important, but don't highlight a single issue and say, oh, if he did this at that point, he would have been great. But we digress. So positioning, I would like you to. At first, it's going to seem you're going to press your luck. Press luck. And that's a really bad way to say it because it doesn't seem like it's skill-based. But as soon as you start pushing forward more, it's funny. Like Reaper, if you play him like mid-range and a little bit scared, you're not going to be that effective with him. And if you actually take that courageous step forward, you'll do a lot better with him. But remember, Reaper has a Wraith form. He can get out of any situation, more or less. Now, if they have the power or the battle, like the edge of battles on their side, that when you retreat, you're probably going to get killed. That happens. But that's just kind of the part you have to take when playing Reaper. Logistically, so again, you were holding mid-range a little bit too much, but a couple times you're over-flanking. Too much. And remember, flanking takes time. It's actually the most costly resource in Overwatch, by far. Flanking is cool and all, but don't overflank. Right, so on the one map, I believe it was University, you actually went all the way around and then try to get to their back lines. And you got the two windows here. You could have just went up here. Honestly, you could have got up here and get like one of the frontliner kills. And if you have to go through the back lines, then go over here and get to the backline kills. If you notice the entire team is holding this side, it's probably just better to either try to poke through the main one or try to get through ground this way. Because by the time, actually what did happen is you flanked all the way around, and by the time you were here, your team already lost a member. So at that point, remember, your team's fighting a 5v6 because you're flanking, and then they lost one, so your team's fighting a 4v6. By the time you get to over here, your team's going to be dead. Or at least your team's going to be at such a significant disadvantage that you have to do something amazing to overcome that. But as for logistics, this is where trying to find how to get to mid-range, or try to get to close range, comes into play. It's tricky with Reaper. What we've seen in the professional scene, where Reaper's used, obviously there's a lot more coordination. So the ways to get through this mid-range, I've seen speed boosts, I've seen Lucio's. He can assist. I think you guys are running a Lucio. So maybe just sticking by him will assist you. There's like, you can use shields. This is both HP as well. By HP shields, I mean like literally your teammates. Sometimes you just gotta let someone bigger take the shot. Or you actually use the shields to get closer, right? At a certain point, like, you can sit behind a shield and shoot at mid-range for a little bit, but at a certain point, you do have to, like, take that step forward. But shooting at mid-range allows you to get not a lot of damage out, but it does. Like, if you're behind a Reinhardt shield, let's say, this is just an example, it lets you to assess what the fuck's going on. And since you're not flanking, sometimes flanking has, as you're detached up here, all this time you're detached, you don't have a good source of information unless your allies are telling you play by play. But even then, when you turn the corner, in Overwatch, a second can mean a lot, and a lot changes in a second. So keeping eyes on people, keeping damage on them, even if it's minimal at mid-range, it's still damage, and more importantly, it's a good source of information. And as you start seeing weaknesses, let's say one of your guys gets a headshot and a target is now at half health. That's when you start pressing with Reaper. You start taking the advantage there. Speed boosting Reaper is terrifying. Yeah. So we saw it professionally. I believe it was Lunatic High. And what they did is it was Nambani first point on attack, and they speed boosted a Reaper and a D.Va. And the D.Va ate all the damage, and the Reaper just went in and just wrecked face. It's all about, like, honestly, with Reaper, it's all about mitigating mid-range. And I mean mitigating, truly mitigating. Just making it as least shitty as possible. Like, it's never going to be a great time for you, but it just, as you get better and better and better, it's all about how making this mid-range either occur less, or when it does occur, minimizing the negative aspects of it. Because Junkrat's is the same way. I hate mid-range. I fucking hate it. I do everything to avoid it. So if you can probably pick up on stuff I do as Junkrat and mimic it to a point. Obviously, you can't do the long-range stuff, but the short-range stuff where I play corner games, That's going to be a big help. Using cover and keep constant pressure while moving forward with cover. These are all assistants for that. Information, I think you're doing good here. Also, skill usage, I think was fine. For 2700, I think you're doing just fine. Information, I think you're doing good, but just remember, with the flanking, you do drop information. And a lot of times you were, at lower levels, they may not bite you like this, but at higher levels, when you teleported, like you're on the high ground on that last map, and you teleported to the center circle thingy, whatever you want to call it, this doesn't give you that much of a tactical advantage, and you just, like, whenever you teleport, you just scream. So a good player is just going to see you and shoot you and kill you. What you need to do is when you're up here, if you can get someone, get them. If you can't, then you may have to find another route or wait for your team to come back. The problem with that one, I think that's when your teammate left. Essentially, if you do flank and you're stuck behind enemy lines alive, don't try to get a pick right away. What you need to do is you need to wait for your team to apply pressure forward, and that's when you attack. Too many people, I think when they get behind enemy lines, they just start doing crazy stuff. But the key to it is attacking as your team attacks, and this keeps the front lines busy, and then you can attack the back lines. What do I mean by pressing your luck? So at a certain point, you're going to be at this between mid-range and close range, and you're going to feel like shit because you're going to be scared. You're going to go, do I move forward or do I not? What I'm saying as Reaper, move forward. A lot of the times, like, a lot of people, as you get better and better and better, sometimes you're going to understand when you attack someone. There's going to be this point in time where you're like, all right, if I back up this far, I'm going to die. Right? It's too far. Like, to go from whatever, we'll say this is close range, and we'll say this is mid-range. And you're in the middle, and you don't know if to go forward or backwards. Now, people think, oh, go backwards, retreat. That's the safest option. No, no, no. Sometimes your safest option is forward. Plow through a character. Something like that. Press forward, see if you can get a kill, and even if you wraith form, sometimes even going deeper works. I'm not saying it would have worked in any of the situations in this game, but it is a concept that you have to acknowledge and have to understand because it's going to happen. Going deeper sometimes is safer. When you're hiding in the bush, you thought your team was closer. Just remember that, like, heroes are very, very easily seen in Overwatch, so hiding is usually not, unless you're completely hidden behind a wall, I would say it's not that good of a deal to hide. I wouldn't put my money on it. What happened to your Revlo stuff? Revlo was transferred over to the new system. That was like 3 or 4 weeks ago. Also, King Jet, thank you for the sub, along with Dilurbus. Thank you so much. Since you're in chat, do you have any other questions, Suppa? I mean, I think you're doing fine, but there's this hesitation, and if anything I want you to work on is this hesitation at this between mid and close range, and you keep backing up. And as you back up, you just get killed. Any questions? When does hesitation benefit you? Fucking never. You have to beat hesitation out of yourself. It's almost never good. I'd rather have you make a wrong decision immediately than to hesitate for 3 to 4 seconds and then make the right decision. You just say fuck it when you get in those situations. That's one way to do it. I mean, it's one way to do it, Suppa. The problem is that so many people are afraid of making a mistake and going in deeper that they never understand this option. And the only way you're going to understand that option exists is to do it and to be wrong, and then sometimes do it and be right, and then start slowly getting better at it. Is hesitation too slow? Yeah, hesitation is terrible. You been spamming the sexy Junkrat during the World Cup today? Well, good job. Doing God's work. Oh, tunnel vision. Yeah, you did have tunnel vision. The easiest way for me, like how I help tunnel vision, is once something's... Like, the way I see it is once something is done, like, as I'm shooting, like, as you saw the mech, diva getting demeched, as the mini diva pops out, I wouldn't, as soon as you see the animation or her at, like, 10 health, I would just be like, alright, what's next? I would just take this out completely. And the way I deal with tunnel vision is always thinking, what's next, what's next, what's next? And essentially, like, instead of getting this very narrow tunnel vision about, like, oh, all of a sudden, like, X and then Y. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, what's next? Oh, well, Y. And what you want to avoid is, like, getting, all right, X and then Y. And then all of a sudden, you have two, you just narrow vision, you're just switching it, right? As you do this more and more, as you start correlating what's next, your vision here will start getting wider, essentially. Because you're thinking about the next step of what to do. Instead of being narrow, your vision will be a little bit wider. And you'll start preparing before that even happens. You're like, all right, after this person dies, I'm going to have to go after this. And so at that point, you have a very wide range of vision. That's the best way, I think, to get over it at the early stages. Except first, yeah, you did. Like, you did this to Diva or someone else a couple times. Like, you just run forward and shoot, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, then you're here, and then you got to go this way. You mean I should start thinking about a few steps ahead of what's happening? Yep, that's exactly what. It's always about what's going on next. Because when you see things, what you see on the screen at the time is already too late. Right? Whatever you see on screen, it's already happening, and it's too late, and you have to get ahead of that technique or ahead of that concept. Right, so when I see a soldier up on the high ground, let's say it's, what am I, in my mind right now, I'm just thinking, watch point Gibraltar, first point. Like, the soldiers on the high ground. And there's that little, server rooms over here, yada, yada, yada. What I'm thinking is not soldier, soldier, soldier. I'm thinking, well, we got to kill the soldier. Why? Because what's the soldier going to do? And now when we pressure him, what's his out? What's his ways out? And that has to do with, can I pressure him directly? Can I not? Is there something in the way? Do I have to get, then it becomes like, do I have to take out this person while worrying about soldier, and then maybe this person, and then I can get the soldier? And all of a sudden, like, all right, that's not a narrow focused. Sure, it may seem like I'm narrowly focused on soldier, but I'm looking at the rest of the fight as it's happening. I don't have any pro reviews in the near future. Maybe when the World Cup gets to the grand finals, but other than that, like, honestly, the World Cup's been just a fucking disappointment. Does that help you, Suppa? Like, do you understand, like, how I attack this problem and how you can look at it? Reaper, when I go into the fight, should I stay behind my tanks instead of full on lone wolfing it? Suppa, what you have to do is you have to understand both. And this is the thing with, you're looking for a right answer, and the right answer is sometimes Reaper does have to operate alone. And then other times, Reaper does have to operate within the team and around a tank. So this is what I don't like about people, and they're like, do I have to do X or do I have to do Y? They're like, as Junkrat, do I try to favor like X or Y? And it's like, no, no, no. Like, you have to understand how to deal with X and Y, and you have to do them at different times. So you have to look at Reaper with the team behind a shield. You have to look as Reaper on a flank alone. You have to, you know, look as Reaper if it was just you and your healers. Like, you kind of have to look at... You have to look at multiple aspects of the class, figure those out, and kind of fuck up. Because that's with Bastion, Color Bastion, or Colorblind, I should say. What his issue was, and it was he was trying to find an answer on how to fight something. And the truth is, you kind of got to fight it like a fighting game, where you have multiple things you can do. I'm not huge into fighting games, but I understand some concepts. So the FGC, the fighting game community, I fucking love those bastards. Essentially, they call it a mix-up, right? What's the easier one? StarCraft. StarCraft's a way better one. So when you play StarCraft and you play like a best of 7, sometimes you got to throw in cheese strats. So sometimes you do have to Zergling rush them or do something crazy. And what it does is it just throws someone off of your technique. They're like, all right, this guy will do this and he will do that. Now that's StarCraft. But you have to understand in Overwatch the same concept applies, where you're like, all right, sometimes I have to fight like this during a team fight, and some other times I have to fight like this. Is either one correct? Well, they're both correct. There's no one perfect way to play a class except for reactive style. So hopefully that's good enough answer for you. You're looking at both teams so I can decide what I should always do. Always do mix-ups. You should be looking at both teams, yes. That's your information level, but always do mix-ups. Mix-ups, I just mean, let's say a Junkrat example is, I know how to play a long-range Junkrat, and I know how to play a short-range Junkrat. So that means when I meet someone at mid-range, I can do both. And that means maybe one time I fight a hog and I get right up in his face and I shoot him, and I win. And maybe next time I fight him, he's going to expect me to go short, so I can go long. And then he's like, fuck, this guy's doing different things, and they can't get a dial in on my technique because I'm playing reactive, but I know multiple ways of playing the class. So every time's a little bit different. And that's kind of high-level stuff, because that's when like people start playing against specific players. I say don't play against the hero, don't play against the player. The truth is at higher levels that you break that rule. And by higher levels, I mean like, not even Grandmaster, I mean like tournament level play. Why isn't Mercy played in pro teams? I think she is every now and then, usually with a Pharah, but Mercy, the problem is when you have really accurate flankers and good tanks and good communication, what happens is the Mercy gets found out quick because you know where that stream is at, you can hear it, she's loud, and then they hunt her down. And if she ever dashes, the dash is called out, and they're immediately on her again. That pro boxing match where the guy kept dodging and sweeping low, just so the guy cut him off. He was sweeping low. Yeah, Potato. It does have roots in boxing and whatnot, martial arts stuff. It's the same thing. Mix-ups are important. It's not even important just to trick the enemy. It's important because you'll start learning about yourself more. All right, Suppa, cool. Hopefully that helps. And with that,